Hi folks, so this is a story of Bass Reeves. Bass Reeves started out his life as a slave with his family owned by William Steele Reeves in 1838. When Bass was 8, William Reeves moved to Grayson County, Texas. He is believed to have been kept in bondage by William Steele Reeves, son of Colonel George R. Reeves, who was the sheriff in Texas. When the American Civil War began, George R. Reeves joined the Confederate Army, taking Bass with him. It is unclear when or how Bass escaped, but at some point during the Civil War, he gained his freedom. One account tells how Bass and George got into a fight over some card games, and Bass severely beat George and fled into Indian territory. We know for certain that Bass did stay with the Native Americans, and he stayed with the Cherokee and the Creeks after escaping and learned their languages until he was eventually freed by the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery in 1865. As a freeman, Bass moved to Arkansas and farmed near Van Buren. Reeves and his family farmed until 1875 when Isaac Parker was appointed federal judge for the Native Territory. Parker appointed James F. Fagan as US Marshal. Fagan had heard about Reeves, who knew the territory and could speak several native languages. He recruited him as a deputy, and Reeves was the first black deputy west of the Mississippi River. Bass was assigned as a deputy US Marshal for Western District of Arkansas, which he was responsible over the native reservation territory. He served there until 1893. That year he was transferred to the Eastern District of Texas in Paris, Texas. Bass worked for 32 years as a federal peace officer in the Native Territory and became one of the judge's most valued deputies. He brought in some of the most dangerous criminals at the time. He was never wounded, but his hat was shot off twice. In addition to being a marksman with a rifle and revolver, Reeves developed superior detective skills during his long career. When he retired in 1907, Reeves had on his record over 3,000 arrests of felons. He killed 14 outlaws to defend his life. Reeves had to arrest his own son for murder. Benjamin Benny Reeves was charged with the murder of his own wife. Despite being disputed and deeply shaken by the incident, Reeves nonetheless insisted on the responsibility of bringing Benny to justice. Benny was captured, tried and convicted. He served 11 years before his sentence was commuted. He reportedly lived the rest of his life as a model citizen. When Oklahoma became a state in 1907, Reeves, then 68, became an officer of the Muskogee Police Department. He served for 2 years before he became ill and retired. Reeves was himself once charged with murdering a cook. At his trial before Judge Parker, Reeves claimed to have shot the man by mistake while cleaning his gun. He was represented by former United States Attorney W.H.H. Clayton, who was a colleague and friend. Reeves was eventually believed and acquitted, possibly based on his exceptional record. Reeves' health began to fail further after retiring. He died of Bright's disease on January 12, 1910. So, when you think about gunslingers or outlaws, or lawmen for example, you probably think about Wyatt Earp, or Doc Holliday, or Jesse James, or maybe even Billy the Kid. But not a lot of people think about Bass Reeves. He deserves a lot more credit than what he gets, and to be honest, I made this video to try and put his legacy out there a little bit more. But yeah, he's a really interesting character, and I didn't know much about him until I researched, so it was interesting to do this video. Yeah, I really appreciate all the support I've been getting, and I just want everybody to know that I really appreciate it. So thanks for watching, and have an amazing day, guys. Thanks again.